good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I must say that you're officially welcome to the second edition of the Ghana Finance and Investment Summit, organized by the CGIA Ghana Network, which happens to be a member network of the CGIA Institute headquartered in New York. The CGIA Ghana Network happens to be a member network of the parent body, which is the CGIA Institute. I am not here as one of your speakers, neither am I your moderator, but I'm just a forerunner who will soon introduce your moderator to you. But before I do so, I'm going to enlighten you a bit about the CGIA Institute. Just in case you are new here, this is for you. The CGIA Institute is a globally recognized professional body of finance and investment professionals who are actually committed to setting global standards for ethical investment practices. The Institute provides the Chartered Global Investment Analyst designation, which is actually a gateway to a global network of finance and investment professionals. I must say that what the Institute does is that it helps you to gain demonstrated expertise, credibility in the field, and also a well-rounded knowledge that can be immediately translated or transferred into business activities and then client-facing advisory functions. If you may please allow me, I'm going to crave your indulgence. I'm going to in a bit show you a video that's going to tell you all about the CGIA. Sit tight and then just watch this brief video.
Looking for a globally recognized certification which will give you a career advantage? Then this is your opportunity to make that happen with the CGIA. The Chartered Global Investment Analyst is the world's largest and recognized professional body providing approved designation for the investment and financial services industry. With a network of over 10,000 members across Americas, Europe, Africa, Middle East, and Asia, and affiliations with over 300 institutions worldwide, the CGIA designation gives you the global edge. CGIA will help you to gain deep knowledge, demonstrated expertise, and credibility in the investment and financial services industry. With CGIA Charter designation, you will be recognized in over 100 countries worldwide and help you to distinguish yourself with knowledge, expertise, and a clear career advantage over industry peers. Join the world's leading professional body for the financial services industry today. Join the CGIA now. CGIA, limitless possibilities. www.cgiaglobal.com.
All right, and so there you had it. That's all there is to know about the CGIA. If you really badly want to have a clear career advantage over your industry peers, then the CGIA presents to you a lifetime opportunity to become a globally recognized finance and investment professional. All you got to do is to visit www.cgiainstitute.org, and then every information there is to know is beautifully scripted there. If you would also have questions, you would see numbers. We are readily available to assist you in every way possible, any day and then any time. One more time on behalf of the CGIA Ghana Network, I'll say that you're welcome to the third session. We have panel 3 now. Earlier yesterday, we had session 1, which actually took us through the vortex of COVID-19, where we knew what to do at this time, taking advantage of the season. Earlier today, we actually delved deeper into technology and how to leverage it in critical times. But this moment, we are dedicating it to the future of Ghana's FDI, Foreign Direct Investment, the policies, regulations, and then its implications. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I will safely hand you over to the moderator for the day in the person of Minister Emmanuel Saki Amfo. Ladies and gentlemen, your moderator.
Thank you very much, Gifty. I would like to welcome our most cherished participants to the last session of CGIA Finance and Investment Summit 2020. Thanks for joining us from your homes and work. My name is Emmanuel Amfusaki, and I am happy to be your host for this section. To help me discuss this important subject are four distinguished personalities from different fields with enormous experience. And without much ado, I will introduce them to you. The first to be introduced is Mr. Charles D. Yomepe. Charles is a result-driven and resourceful professional with over 17 years of professional experience in banking, corporate finance, portfolio management, financial analysis, equity research, investment appraisal, and due diligence, with particular emphasis on ethical investments and an experienced investment advisor. Charles is currently the acting CEO for Ebibi Mine Foundation, the Africa Secretariat for Ebibi Mine Global Championing the SDGs Agenda 2030. Charles holds a Master of Science in Industrial Finance and Investment from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He also holds a Bachelor of Science in Administration, majoring in Banking and Finance from the prestigious University of Ghana Business School. He's a CGIA charter holder and a member of the Network Relations Council of the CGIA Institute. The second to be introduced is Mr. Isaac Charles Akwa. Isaac is currently the lead consultant with Accounting Intel, a financial analytics and advisory firm. Prior to this role, he was the CEO of Algebra Capital Management, a Ghanaian SEC licensed fund management firm. He has over 20 years financial services industry experience, performing financial reporting, financial control, treasury operations, and investment management functions. He was a senior finance officer at First Atlantic Bank Ghana, and later became financial controller for its investment banking subsidiaries in 2009. Additionally, he worked for Talo Oil as an independent consultant to restructure and administer their tier 2 and 3 pension funds over a 2.5-year period. Mr. Akwa is a CGIA charter holder and SEC licensed investment advisor and a chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. He serves as the chairperson of the Employment Relations Committee for the CGIA Network Ghana. The third to be introduced is Mr. Emmanuel Amwa Dakwa. Emmanuel currently consults for IHS Markets, a business intelligence firm which has its headquarters in the United Kingdom. Before joining IHS Markets, he worked as an analyst for Songhai Advisory, LLP, from October 2015 to July 2017. Emmanuel is a sought-after economic analyst, locally and internationally. Notable media houses to have granted interviews with him include BBC, Bloomberg, China Global Television, etc. Emmanuel is a chartered economist with specialization in economic policy analysis and holds a BA in political science and MA in international affairs and diplomacy, both from University of Ghana. The last to be introduced is Mr. Ebenezer Mensah. Ebenezer is currently the acting general manager for Ecom Ghana, a global commodity trading and processing company specializing in coffee, cotton, and cocoa in major producing and consuming countries. Prior to this, he was the area manager in charge of Bronga Hafo and part of Asante region for Amajaro Ghana Limited. Ebenezer holds a BSc in Administration Accounting option from the University of Education, International Executive MBA from the Paris Graduate School of Management, France, as well as a PhD in business management from the Atlantic International University, USA. He is a CGIA charter holder and a part-qualified ACCA. Gentlemen, you are all warmly welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My first question goes to all of you. But I will start with Charles. Amidst the current global economic and healthcare crisis caused by coronavirus outbreak, many economies around the world are projected to experience downward growth trend. Investors are highly skeptical, and that is expected looking at the current economic climate. What is your perspective on this?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. Well, before I start, let me just say governments in developing countries are increasingly seeking for the best policies towards FDI. To attract FDI differs from country to country in terms of technology, market access growth, poverty alleviation, just to mention. The effects of FDI may not always be desired, such as the neglect for local capabilities, environmental damages, inequality. The effects, the COVID-19 has caused dramatic fall in FDI. Global FDI flows. So I'll come in from the global side and Africa side, and I'll zoom into Ghana just for a brief introduction. The global FDI flows are forecast to decrease by up to 40% in 2020 from their 2019 value of $1.54 trillion. This brings FDI below $1 billion for the first time since 2006. FDI is projected to decrease further, 5% to 10% in 2021, and to initiate a recovery in 2022. A rebound in 2022 with FDI reverting to pre-pandemic underlying trend is possible, but only at the upper bound of the expectations. So the outlook is highly uncertain because of the effects, the drop in FDI. And as we all know, FDI, countries that have successful FDI development base need to continue to upgrade their FDI by encouraging existing multinational affiliates to develop into strategic independence by targeting higher value FDI. In Ghana, the main aim of Ghana's FDI strategy in the immediate future is to encourage existing investors to reinvest in the economy. New investments by existing foreign investors, such as mining, agribusiness, telecommunications, and foreign services, are expected to contribute to the increase of employment, exports, foreign exchange receipts, tax revenue, and economic growth. So that's with this pandemic, it's basically halted everything for now, and all the projections are coming down. So I'll stop here. So we go. I will give more distance. I'll continue. So I'll just stop here for the meantime.
Isaac, thank you very much. Isaac, can you give your reflection on this? Isaac, if you can hear me, can you give your reflection on this?
Okay. Hello,
Isaac, you are on air.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, so I was saying that the effects of the pandemic indeed is a global one, and the story, needs not to be told any further. We have all, experienced it. I mean, in our own small way. Globally, the World Bank did a report called Early Pulse Survey, and that report, just like many others which were done by other institutions, really exposed the kind of impact that the COVID-19 is having in terms of business and then, as it were, global trade. In that report, it was revealed that in the last 3 months, and then mind you, this this report was done somewhere around April. So they were looking at the last 3 months before April, that the pandemic had actually affected about 80% of multinational enterprises. And if you know multinational enterprises, these are the same institutions that go to invest in other countries, and they are thus referred to as FDIs. So if we have about 80% of these multinationals being affected, it is then logical to actually conclude that COVID-19 has had an impact on FDI investment globally. If we bring it home to Ghana, yes, indeed, Ghana is heavily dependent on international trade. If you put our inbound and then our outbound FDIs together, you would get about 68% contribution to the GDP of Ghana, and therefore anything that would affect business, international business relationship with Ghana, is going to have a significant impact on the business environment. However, it is also important to also state that the government interventions have so far gone, in the right directions. The kind of incentives the Bank of Ghana, in responses to lower the, prime rates, deferral of interest payment and things like that, have all gone, gone a long way to help institutions unravel this particular pandemic. So indeed, yes, it has had an impact on us, but the government interventions have also been very helpful.
Thank you, Isaac. Can Ebenezer give us his reflection?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to our viewers and our listeners, and my co-panelists. I think that coming from an agro-business background, I think that we are also not an exception. COVID-19 is a global pandemic, and a lot of organizations in the global world have also projected some decline, that the global economies are going to go back. And we have seen that with also our naked eye. I think that according to the OECD, they projected 30% global decline. And I think that Ghana is not an exception. So this pandemic COVID-19 is a global setback, and it has brought a lot of hardships on the people in the universe. And I feel that it is something that we need to look at and then take the opportunity within it. In spite of the problems that COVID-19 has introduced, I believe that there are also a lot of opportunities out there that Ghana can grab. So in this sense, Ghana has also placed itself in a very nice position, and the future looks bright. Looking at the interventions that the government has introduced and the protocols that they put in place, I think that for me, I see the future to be bright for Ghana. And I believe that if we are able to come up with good policies, good regulations, and other strategies, Ghana is going to benefit from this COVID-19. And I hope that we are going to be rightly placed in terms of economies. So that is what I will say for now. But as the discussion goes by, a lot of things will unfold. Thank you.
Manuel, please, can you give us your take on it?
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, CGIA, for this opportunity. To share in the words of my earlier panelists, I think COVID-19 is going to impact economies all over the world. The IMF projects a plunge in global economy by negative 4.9%. In Sub-Saharan Africa, we are looking at around 3% in terms of plunge in our economy. Ghana is no exception. If you listen to the mid-year budget review, the minister projected a 0.9% growth as against about 6% in November of 2019. By and large, economics are going to be affected, and Ghana will not be an exception. And narrowing into the subject we are discussing today, foreign direct investments, we are going to see a plunge in foreign direct investments. I believe that Ghana might not be able to achieve the 3 billion FDI mark that was made last year as a result of COVID-19 and its impact on our economy, including, and more importantly, on the subject for discussion, FDI. So this will be my initial thoughts on the ravaging effect of COVID-19 and triggering an economic crisis of which Ghana is going to have its first share. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eben. Charles, this question goes with, Charles, this question, I want you to answer this question for us. What's your background in investment banking? Is Ghana attractive in terms of being an FDI destination as we speak in the midst of this COVID?
Thank you very much for this question. In terms of, yes, Ghana has been attractive. But these times of COVID and moving forward, we need to do more to catch up with the global trends. We need to take measures to mitigate the negative effects of the FDI. And in terms of our investment attraction, we must come out in ways to attract, to encourage the current foreign investors in town to stay and not to move out, and to reinvest in the economy. Because before you can get new investors coming inside, you must try and maintain the existing investors. So what I would say that in terms of attraction, it's affected everybody. It's affected every country, both global, and most investors are finding ways of moving out if it's not improving. Thereby, the country must now put in policies and measures to attract the investors to come inside. One thing I can say is that we need to take in steps to alleviate the administrative burdens of firms and to reduce bureaucratic obstacles with the aim of speeding up production processes and delivery of goods during the pandemic. Because if we really want to attract and maintain them, we must do such things. We must also look at the acceleration of approvals for investments in labor-intensive and infrastructure projects, faster approvals of healthcare and medical equipment businesses, and reduction of investment application fees. Currently, when you look at our structure, it seems we have a lot of bureaucratic measures that impede the smoothest, and most investors do complain. We want to come to Ghana, but the red tapeism is too much. Yes, and now in these times of COVID and moving forward, there is competition from every country. Thus, Ghana must also sit up to meet up and be able to attract investors. We must look at adopting policy measures to boost investments in certain critical industries. We must make it a point to encourage, as I said earlier, the present MNEs, the multinational enterprises in Ghana. We must encourage them to stay and not to move out. If they start moving out, we can't attract. So our immediate measure must be to try to encourage them, make life a bit easy for them, make the approvals and administrative processes easy for them. If it's get to renewal of their visa and things, we should expedite those things and try and make it very easy for them so they'll feel comfortable to stay despite the COVID thing. If we don't maintain them and they start moving out, we will find it difficult to attract new investments in. So that's my take for now.
Thank you, Charles. I want to encourage all attendees that have questions to use the Q&A section. I've seen one question floating, so please keep the questions coming. Thank you very much. Charles, you seem to have said that you believe that historical records, as in perceptions about past performance of FDI-based firms, may influence potential investors to come in to invest with us. The question that I want to ask Emmanuel is, has Ghana been sufficiently FDI friendly to past investors to warrant new investment now?
Yes, yes, definitely. The country has been able to put in measures to attract investors. And it is interesting to note that in 2019, in terms of FDI flows to West Africa, Ghana topped with $3 billion in FDI flows against our big brother Nigeria. I make this example because of the size of the economy of Nigeria as compared to Ghana. It means that there's something that we are doing correctly. If you look at investors, there are two critical things that they will consider: political stability and economic stability. In the past 3.5 years, I think government and policymakers have been able to do well in terms of stabilizing Ghana's economy pre-COVID era. In terms of political stability, since 1992, we've been able to go into successive elections peacefully. So investors are very mindful of that. When they are investing, they want a country whereby their investments will be safe, whereby there will be economic stability. I believe that the country has done well also in terms of implementing measures to reduce ease of doing business. In 2019, Ghana's ease of doing business record was 114, as against, in past years, it wasn't 114. And this was done by the World Bank. I think in terms of making it easier to register business, in terms of making it easier for construction permits, in terms of making it easier to get access to electricity, and in terms of making it easy to register properties, in all these fronts, the countries have been able to put in measures to make it easier. I know now you can register your business online without even going to Registrar General's department. These are the kind of innovations that we look out for, so that it will make the investment climate friendly and investors who want to chip in to make investment in our country. We've done well, but there's more room for improvements.
Okay, thank you very much. Isaac, someone has asked a specific question to you. He wants you to elaborate on the impact, good and bad, of COVID-19. He wants you to elaborate on the impact.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So, COVID-19 has brought, its own benefits, aside the disadvantages that it has also brought us. But I would also want to even initially put on record that, you see, most of the things that we call challenges, this of the COVID-19 and things that are emerging, I see them as a path that we were already trending, except that COVID-19 has has rather leapfrogged us into that into that particular future. So these days we do conferences, meetings on Zoom, but then Zoom was created even before COVID-19. So what it tells you is that we had already made certain preparations. We were already moving towards a certain direction. Now, the impact of COVID-19 itself has sort of brought us closer to where we were going. And because most of us had not prepared ourselves to get to that promised land, now that we have been rushed, we are finding it difficult to survive within within this particular new normal. Now I am saying this to point out that the advantages, therefore, has come to those institutions that had already prepared to go online, to go virtual, institutions that had already invested in digitized systems. They have all benefited from this particular pandemic because even after the pandemic has left us, the kind of appetite that they have already created on the market is still going to exist for them. It has also given us an opportunity to actually assess ourselves within the global space. I mean, it was quite interesting when when the pandemic was at its height, and everybody was actually confused and not knowing what to do. It actually told it actually told us that indeed even the so-called superpowers can become vulnerable. So then what it means to some of us, especially in Africa and then Ghana for that matter, is that we need to reduce our level of dependency, because even these superpowers that we are dependent on them, even for our food, at a point in time can become vulnerable themselves. Therefore, the pandemic has also given us an opportunity to reassess ourselves, our own local opportunities that we have, and to now begin to reason how to harness those local resources to do the things that we need instead of becoming overly dependent. So there are several benefits that this pandemic has forced us to realize. But I think at this point I will just leave it here, and then once we go on, other things will unfold. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Isaac. I want to ask this question to Ebenezer. Eben, I want you to respond to this. Export orientation or openness of the economy has generally been found to influence significantly FDI. I want to ask whether, in your perspective, does Ghana have the right export orientation?
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Before I just come to your question, I also want to add some few points to the last but two questions that you asked, Charles. That has to do with whether Ghana is well positioned to attract foreign direct investment. I think I want to take it from two angles. One has to do with from our health perspective. Currently, if you look at the cases that we have in Ghana so far as COVID-19 is concerned, we are closely around 45,000. And out of this 45,000, close to 44,000 people have recovered. And our death toll is around 287 or so. I think the last checks that I made. And if you look at this, compared this our status to other countries, you agree with me that Ghana is well placed. And God has been so good unto us for bringing us up to this stage. This means that if any FDI, if any investment is coming from, or any investor is looking for a place to invest, I think these are some of the factors that the person will take into consideration. And I hope that my colleagues have also said a lot about those conditions. And I believe that once our health status has also favored us, now it has brought a lot of insight into the economy. People within Ghana are more conscious of whatever they eat, just to stay, do a lot of exercises, and then to keep them healthy. On this note, I believe that anybody who would want to put his money into the economy would have a look at all these things. And I think that on the health perspective, Ghana is well placed. Again, if you look at our fiscal policies, I think that the government has done a lot to ensure that Ghana is also well placed to attract foreign investors. If you look at what the government was doing in terms of water, in terms of electricity, and all that, even recently in one of the dailies, it was published that about 120,000 businesses have benefited from this COVID-19. These are all indicators that the government of Ghana is supporting the environment. And when the business environment looks a bit friendly, then that is also an opportunity to attract a lot of investors from the diaspora. So I want to state that Ghana is well placed, but I think like one of the guys also said, there is more room for improvement. I think coming back to your question that you asked in terms of export and all that, I think we have done something, but I think we need to do more. Now, looking at, let me use my side as an example. Currently, cocoa in Ghana is one of the commodities that are exported to the outside world. Few percentages are used in the local countries. Now, because of COVID-19, it has affected our outflows from within, and it's affecting the world market as well. COVID-19 has created a lot of issues, and I believe that in terms of exports, in terms of promotions that we can do, there are a lot of spaces that we can also fill. We have to make sure that at least our people who are in the front lines of our exports and all that are also given some amount of training, to also technological training to fit into the current challenges that we find ourselves in. So Ghana can do more, but talking about placement, I think that we are rightly placed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eben. Please, I want Emmanuel to answer this question for us. We want to look into policies here. What are the policies that the government can put in place, GIPC can put in place, that can make Ghana attractive? Because we know that import substitution policies that were pursued by South Asian countries led to huge FDI inflows. So, Emmanuel, can you help us with some policies you think can be in place that can, Ghana is doing well based on the report you gave us last year? What can we do more in terms of policies?
Thank you very much. If you look at the sectors of Ghana's economy, we have agri, we have manufacturing, we have services. In all these three sectors, in terms of its contribution to GDP, services is leading. But in terms of creation of employment, which a lot of people will benefit, will be in the agri sector. So my first point would be, I know that in government's 10-point pillars for industrial transformation, there is one of them that is popularly known as the One District, One Factory. Government should be able to, as it's currently doing, support those who are going into that sector. So tax exemption policies are rightly in place, but it must also be scrutinized, because I have had a problem with how tax exemptions are sometimes granted to companies who invest here, and at the end of the day, they leave us with nothing. Again, when I come to the manufacturing sector, government has an anchor policy, and now they've been able to pass the automotive policy, whereby they are encouraging a lot of assemblers to settle in Ghana or to make business in Ghana. This policy, for instance, has advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are, when we have assemblers in your economy, you'll be able to, of course, create jobs in terms of skills transfer. Ghanaians who get the opportunity to work in there will be able to have the necessary skills and all that. But the disadvantages will be the value chain. If you look at this automotive policy, for instance, It is going to ban salvage cars, what we popularly call accident cars. And accident cars are classified in various measures. Sometimes it can be just the headlight that has been crashed or the mirror that has been crashed, but it will be declared as an accident vehicle, be brought to Ghana to be sold. In its impact on that value chain, garages will not be able to import accident cars anymore. Mechanics who work in this space will not be able to have access to repair those salvage vehicles that have been brought from Europe and America and other markets. So in terms of looking at it, there are pros and cons to every policy that you implement. You have an automotive policy. But what will be the impact of that policy on the value chain of those who deal in that industry? So that is where we should find a fine balance between the advantages and the disadvantages, so that you'll be able to keep people who are in that value chain in place. Again, my last point will be for services industry. I think that it's about time we invest in a lot of IT or telecommunication, digital space, support for fintechs, because that is the way to go. COVID-19 has taught us that because you have to implement social distance, a lot of people are using a lot of fintech platforms to do transactions. We should go a bit further in terms of how we can use fintechs to encourage savings, in terms of how we can use fintechs to encourage, pensions and insurance and all those. I think if we're able to, as a country, implement policies in this direction, we'll be able to attract a lot of FDI flows. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Still on policies, will you respond to it, Charles? Still on policies. What kind of policy do you think should be in place to attract FDI into the country?
Thank you very much. I feel the government and the investment promotion agencies should have measures like support measures like online investments participation. They must put in the policies for online investment participation because of the COVID-19 health protocols. We must also have policies like pandemic-related investment promotion agencies. So special agencies, policies call for pandemic-related investment promotion agencies to make investors very comfortable in trying to access information and trying to come into the country. We must also look at policies like incentives in investment in healthcare. It's very critical because with this COVID, it's come to stay, whether we like it or not. That policies, we must also think of looking at to tighten our foreign investment screening mechanisms to protect healthcare and other strategic industries. Because of the competition now, if we don't take care of our local industries, some of our local industries will be taken over by the foreign ones. Other policies will also look at mandatory productions. And it seems the government has started doing something to encourage the local industries to go into the PPs and things. That is also help. And we look at the policy of export bans on medical equipments, because we need them. Now every country is, so if we do export, we must, but if I check the figures, I doubt how much we export. So it's rather, we are rather the opposite way. And we look at policies of reduction of import duties for medical devices. Rather, let's reduce the import duties for medical devices, because we need them now. So I'll just take some of these policies like we have online facilitation services, pandemic-related investment promotion agencies. We look at how to tighten our foreign investment screening to protect healthcare and other strategic industries. Mandatory productions. Let's move in. Let's try and produce. To let the government come and produce just how it started. The PPs, the hand sanitizers and so forth. We look at reduction of import duties for medical devices. So that by those things, we'll be able to at least mitigate the effects of the pandemic. I'll end here for now.
Thank you, Charles. Isaac, there's a question for you. Which aspect of business will you recommend for young ones to invest in Ghana or Africa? Which aspect of business will you recommend for young ones to invest in Ghana or Africa?
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I think once again, the major phenomenon and the biggest thing which has um, uh, become much more evident around us since the emergence of COVID-19 is digitization. Is the need to go virtual, is the need to work online and to render services online. It is the new infrastructure that is coming along the typical infrastructure which we have always been looking at: roads, hospitals, and stuff like that. Internet has become that new infrastructure which is also necessary in the development of trade and commerce. So if that has come about and it is bringing opportunities, it is giving leeway for people to continue to do their businesses without engaging in physical contact. I think that it creates an opportunity that the young people can actually look at tapping into. Interestingly, there's a lot of investors who are always eager to invest in young people going into tech development. So once you have a very, very good plan, properly laid out, costing properly done, and then of course you can confidently defend it. I think it would be a good start for any young person wishing to take advantage of the distant future to look at going digital. Now if we talk of going digital, it's not just about creating apps or maybe creating video games and stuff like that. No, you can even have your own normal business, but you will decide to run it online. Okay, so then you will not necessarily build any infrastructure online that that people are going to use. You are just going to create, basically create a virtual business which is running online, where you can sell your wares or where you can deliver services and stuff like that. Which which can all contribute towards the development of the business sector in Ghana. Apart from that, people can also look out for services that are offered online. There are a lot of global businesses that normally hire people online. I mean, I know people who sit in Ghana and they are yet accounting assistants of businesses out there in the states, just because of the opportunity that the internet provides. There are businesses who build website for people, and all they need is somebody that can write contents for them. Some of these opportunities also come online, and there are freelance content developers online who write some of these scripts for people and they make money out of it. So there are thousands of opportunities on the internet. So for me, for COVID-19, now I would concentrate on these opportunities on the internet for now. That's where I will advise people to go to.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Emmanuel, what are the locational advantages that Ghana has now? Why will an investor choose Ghana instead of another country in the sub-region to bring in FDI?
Emmanuel, before Emmanuel also comes in, I just also wanted to add some few points on the. It looks like Emmanuel is forgetting about me, but I'm still alive. Just want to throw some light on the policies. I think from my side, maybe I can talk about two main things that we can encourage this local and foreign partnerships. I think the government should have a system in place or policy in place where the local guys are encouraged to partner the foreign investors. And I believe that it will also inure to our benefit as an economy. That is the first part. The second part that I also want to also look at, I think the government policy of homecoming is also essential. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, my internet went off. So it looks like the government should relax the administrative procedures a bit in Ghana, just to attract these guys to come and then also help us increase our economic growth. But in the case of areas where we can invest, I think that Isaac has said a lot, but I just want to add some few. I think that in terms of in the middle of or in the midst of COVID-19, a Greek sector could also be relevant. I was just listening to Charles and I felt that Charles is well inclined on technological grounds. And in Ghana, a lot of people are not closely related to the technology. And for the sake of those who are also in the hinterlands, I think that an area the youth can also
Okay, Manuel, can you respond to that as we wait for Eben to come back?
Sure. And the question again is why would somebody choose Ghana ahead of maybe Cote d'Ivoire or Nigeria? I'm going to start from macroeconomic standpoint. You should have a stable economy, because if I'm putting my money in your economy, I should be assured of the stability of the economy. So in terms of general macroeconomic indicators, from inflation to interest rate to monetary policy rate to all the other indices you would want to consider, there should be stability. Investors are much concerned about stability, because the value of the money that they are putting in the economy is very critical, and investors invest because they want to make profit. That is number one. Number two would be the political climate. I think we have done well. I have made it in my earlier submission that we have done well as a country in terms of political stability. Number three, I would want to talk about the specialized economic zones that government has initiated. Investment shouldn't only be in Accra or Greater Accra region, but government should be able to keep establishing industrial zones in all regions, so that industries will be able to cluster at a particular space. Once they are at a particular space, they will be able to make some gains in terms of maybe their access to the electricity or utilities or infrastructure, because they are clustered in a particular zone. Government will be able to tailor some policies to favor them. So that is one thing that government should keep doing. In terms of anchor industrialization, I believe that a sector that looks very promising for me is pharmaceutical, especially in the times that we are in. It is about time that government should be able to create a lot of incentives and policies that will favor that industry, because there is a huge potential. Again, I would want to speak about the coming on stream of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which offers a huge opportunity for businesses in Ghana or FDI flows in Ghana to have access to a market of 1.2 billion people with a combined GDP of $2.5 trillion. So how will government be able to look at the needs of African countries, the needs of consumers on the continent, and be able to fashion out policies that will attract investment in those sectors. For example, we are importing a lot of computers onto the continent. We are importing a lot of cars onto the continent. How will government frame policies in that regard to favor investment into such industries so that there will be foreign investments going into that industry? I think these are some of the things that government should be doing so that we'll be able to be ahead of our peers in terms of foreign direct investment destination on the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Ebenezer, you are back. Welcome, welcome. There's a question for you, Eben.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you.
There's a question for you. Based on Isaac's response on the aspect of business for young ones to invest, what is your take on investing in commodities online?
Thank you very much, Iman. I'm also sorry for my internet. I don't know what happened on the way, but I'm back. I think that I was touching on the areas where the young guys can also invest in. And I feel that for me, there are two main areas I feel that they can touch on. The first one has to do with sanitation. You know, with the introduction of COVID, a lot of people have been sensitized. People have realized that there is a need to keep hygiene. There is a need to keep our environment clean and all that. So there is that consciousness. There is that consciousness to make the effort to keep our surroundings and environment clean. My prayer is that this washing of hands and all that can be sustained as we go on, even after COVID-19. But the key point is that now, because people are conscious about their environment, investing into the sanitation arena is something that people can also look at. Again, people are also more conscious about what they eat now. So if you have an opportunity to invest in the system as agribusiness person, I think that introducing or investing something into the agricultural sector is something that you will not regret. Now, people are eating foods that can give them, improve upon their health. People are more conscious about the food they eat. Now, in Ghana, people are careful about what they eat now because they feel that you are what you eat. So in that sense, I think that a lot of demand will be on the food that we also eat. And it is the reason why the government has introduced this food production in Ghana. I think that these are the two main areas that the youth of the day can also work and then secure the arena for themselves. It is also a green arena for all of them to invest in. So these are the two things that I would also urge the youth to also look at. The sanitation levels and then that of the agricultural sector. It will help them. Going into poultry, going into the plantation of cash crops like, watermelon, and all that is something that people need to look at. It will boost very soon, immediately, even after COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In terms of marketing and branding, how has marketing been in terms of our Ghana's investment story? And I want Charles to answer that question.
Thank you very much. In terms of the marketing and branding, yes, our stable political environment has been helpful to us because for some years now we have had a stable political environment. Our improving infrastructure developments going on in the country is also a plus to us. Whether we like it or not, despite which government is in place and all the brouhaha, we have improving infrastructure developments going on. It's been a plus to us where the investors are coming in because they are seeing certain infrastructures being in place. Availability of skilled and trainable labor at competitive costs has helped us to market Ghana in terms of our branding. Because the investors know once they get to Ghana, there's skilled labor and there's labor so that they can train at competitive costs. So that's also helped. One market thing that maybe the GIPs I say the GIPC is also doing its using of target market approach. They are coming out with a way to target certain investors in certain industries to come in. And those and all those companies are also looking at what I mentioned first, Ghana as a brand. They're looking at our political environments, improved infrastructure, and availability of skilled labor, and the ease of doing business. So that first that I mentioned, the brand Ghana, where it looks at our political environment, infrastructure development, availability of skilled and trainable labor at competitive cost, helps a lot. The GIPC is also doing one thing: use of electronic word of mouth, and also endorsement by existing companies. This strategy being used, our existing multinational companies, for example, like Coca-Cola, giving us endorsements. Yes, come to Ghana. The environment is good for you to invest in all stuff. It makes other companies who are lying to Coca-Cola also come in. So these are some ways that the GIPC is looking at. They are using the endorsement by existing companies. That's why I said earlier, we must make sure our multinational enterprises currently in the country, we must do everything possible to make them comfortable for them to stay. Once they stay, despite these COVID problems and things, it will attract new ones coming inside. Because if we use this marketing strategy of getting endorsement from existing companies, multinational companies like Coca-Cola, companies that are aligned to it will also be interested to come into the country. And the use of electronic word of mouth. That is also, we can see that the GIPC has now come out with videos from various stakeholders on their opinions about working in Ghana. And this has contributed to our overall branding as a country. So these are strategies that I'll have to give some credit to the GIPC, the government, that they are doing well. They are doing everything possible to attract investors. But as we said, there is more room for improvement in terms of coming to the country, the ease of registering and the ease of doing things. So I will look at our brand, our use of electronic word of mouth, yes, our endorsement by existing companies. That is the most important to me. That I feel we must look at very, very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. We have about 5 minutes to run up. So I will give every panelist a minute or two. A minute or two to address this question. In terms of branding, still on branding, in Ghana, the president and the CEO of GIPC seems to be the main people behind the marketing of Ghana. Do you think, Isaac, do you think that we can do more than that?
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. In terms of whether we can do more than that, certainly, yes, there's a lot more which we can do in, within the area of branding. Except that, you see, those of us within hardly see the kind of image that the government portrays out there, because these things are usually not targeted at those of us within, but then it is targeted at the international business community. But I think that on that angle, yes, a lot is being done. However, you see, there's a risk about branding and facts. You can have a very beautiful brand, but if the facts is not good, you will end up disappointing people and they will not take you serious. Now, why do I say this? I say this to bring our attention to the fact that it's not just a matter of branding. We should be able to as well prepare the grounds and make the environment as friendly and as enabling as possible so that whatever image that we are putting out there, should it attract investors, they would come in and have a wonderful experience. So it is important that we make sure that whatever we are putting out there, there is indeed a program of action that is going to make that, that particular experience feasible. But yes, I will give thumbs up to the current trade minister. He has recently launched the Ghana Business Regulatory Reform Portal, which has all the laws of doing business in Ghana. So any multinational company anywhere around the world does not necessarily need to come to Ghana, may not need to hire a corporate lawyer in Ghana to actually give him a certain opinion before he would come into Ghana, right from from his own office. He can have access to all the laws regulating business and make his own decision. So these things are happening. It is in the right direction. Throughout the whole of the COVID-19, government has brought about a whole lot of interventions. It is in the right direction. It should then be summed up with a fine branding so that we shall indeed sell Ghana that has opportunities and not Ghana that has a lot of red tapes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Emmanuel, I want you to respond to a question that has been posted. In this COVID era, FDIs are likely to go down. What policies or measures can also be put in place to develop and promote local industries, to lead export, to support the economy?
Well, to start with, when COVID-19 broke, and in terms of response from government, there's been a stimulus package of in all about 750 million Ghana cedis, and that is not enough, but it's a step in the right direction. But we should start from how local businesses can tap into the local opportunities. And I see it when I go to the market myself. During the COVID times, there was a COVID-19 induced inflation, especially from food inflation. And I personally go to the market and I ask the tomato seller that, why is it that tomato was sold at this price just a couple of weeks ago, but now it's been sold at a higher price? And she tells me that, as you say, Burkina tomatoes in a month, they say the Ghana DNA, and it's very expensive. So it tells me that there is a local opportunity that we can harness as local businesses, especially in the agri sector, especially in food sector, because basic commodities like tomatoes, like onions, we still import them in volumes. And I believe that it's time that we should be able to look at that. And it starts from the research you do into that. And I still hinge on that example I'm giving you, that why is it that the Burkina tomato is of more quality than the Ghana tomato? It's all about research. Doing a research in the field to know that how can I have improved seedlings of tomatoes so that the tomato that I grow in Ghana will be able to have a long shelf lifespan. And these are some of the things that local businesses should be able to do. And then with the support of government, be able to get the right research to go into the production of food. Because before COVID-19, we were enjoying single-digit inflation, and now it breached to double-digit as a result of influx or a hike in food prices. So these are some of the local opportunities that local businesses can take advantage of. Once you're able to consolidate the gains you make in Ghana, then you can export to our neighboring countries and then the continent at large. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for that insightful thoughts. Eben, will you give us your final remarks in 2 minutes?
Well, Emmanuel, I think the last point that I also would want to make has to do with branding. I think that in the middle of COVID-19, we saw a lot of innovations and a lot of inventions. I think we were able to come up with our own face mask. We were able to produce our own Veronica buckets and all that. I believe that a lot of people have also entered into new areas that I think that COVID-19 has also exposed us. For me, I think that looking at all these things and going forward, it is the onus lies on the people who are frontiers of the nation to speak about the good things that the people of Ghana are doing. And I believe that if we are able to do that, Ghana is going to be ahead of several countries in Africa, and we are also going to match or peg ourselves with the developed countries very soon, because I think the capabilities are there. Given the opportunity, we believe that the people in Ghana can do it in the middle of COVID-19. Thank you very much.
I would say that it has been an insightful piece. I want to thank you all, gentlemen, for your insights on this subject matter. All in all, we've learned so much from this section. We've learned the key indicators that will boost our attraction in terms of FDI. So I would like to thank you all panelists for the time. God bless you for your time and for coming. I will now hand over to
Thank you very much.
Gifty.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Sakian, for that was a great session. Well done. And to all the speakers, I say great job done. That was amazing. Oh, all too soon. How fleeting the moment has been. I thought it was never going to end. We're just learning and loving it. And I wish we're going to continue. But all too soon, we have come to the end of the second edition of the Ghana Finance and Investment Summit. Earlier mentioned that it was organized by the CGIA Ghana Network under the auspices of the parent body, the CGIA Institute. I would say that on behalf of the CGIA Ghana Network, to our speakers, we have highly acclaimed professionals from all sectors. We want to say a very big thank you to you from panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, all speakers that were on board. We want to say thank you. And I'm sure some other time we'll get to meet again. To all participants, on behalf of the CGIA Ghana Network, we want to say thank you, our deepest appreciation for joining us for the second time. We appreciate you. We hope that everything we learn here, we are going to put them in practice and then make Ghana and the world a better place. If you are new here and you just got to know about the CGIA and you would want to be a member, a candidate, or take the exams, like I said earlier, you just go to www.cgiainstitute.org, which is ORG, and then just fill the form. Numbers are there. We are readily available to assist you any day, any time. On this note, we would say goodbye. We'll come again your way some other time with another impactful event. Enjoy what remains of your evening. Thank you.